The Galactic Education Council had made their intentions clear. Humanity was too violent, too unpredictable to be trusted with advanced learning. Earth's first interstellar exchange students would be placed in a remedial integration facility on Kepler 442b, where the galaxy's most challenging species learned to become civilized. Jack Morrison stared through the reinforced windows of transport vessel Enlightenment as their destination grew larger. The planet below looked peaceful enough, rolling purple grasslands dotted with crystalline structures that gleamed like scattered diamonds. Beside him, Daisy Chen adjusted her worn backpack, the one she'd carried through 3 foster homes and 2 universities before earning her spot in the exchange program. Doesn't look so bad, Jack muttered, trying to convince himself. At 23, he'd survived the Detroit food riots and worked 3 jobs to pay for engineering school. This couldn't be worse than home. The buildings are beautiful, Daisy agreed, though something in her voice suggested she wasn't entirely convinced. At 21, she'd learned to read situations quickly, a skill honed by years of navigating systems that didn't want her to succeed. The transport shuddered as it entered the atmosphere. Through the speakers, Captain Thrix's translated voice crackled. "Human specimens prepare for educational integration. Your species' rehabilitation begins now." The facility looked less welcoming up close. Towering walls of some dark metal surrounded a collection of squat, windowless buildings. As they disembarked, Jack noticed the other students, if that's what they were. Massive, scaled creatures with too many teeth. Insectoid beings whose compound eyes tracked their movement with predatory interest. Things that might have been plants but moved with deliberate, unsettling purpose. "Welcome to Sector 7, announced their guide. A spindly creature whose name translated roughly to disciplinarian Korth. Its voice carried the authority of someone accustomed to breaking spirits. "You will learn to suppress your violent tendencies here, or you will not learn at all." The classroom was a stark metal chamber with chairs bolted to the floor. Daisy took a seat near the back, Jack beside her. Around them, 24 alien students settled into place, their attention focused on the humans with unsettling intensity. "Humans," Korth began, "are known throughout the galaxy for their aggression and unpredictability. Your species has been observed to resort to violence even when more civilized solutions exist. This will be corrected." The lesson that followed was less education than humiliation. Every question posed to Jack and Daisy was designed to highlight human flaws. When Jack tried to explain human problem-solving techniques, he was silenced. When Daisy attempted to discuss human art and culture, she was told such topics were irrelevant to proper behavioral modification. The other students watched with obvious amusement. Jack caught fragments of their translated conversations, bets on how long the humans would last, speculation about what methods would finally break them. It continued for 3 days. Each morning brought fresh indignities, new ways to demonstrate human inferiority. Jack's hands clenched into fists more than once, but Daisy's calm presence kept him grounded. She had a way of staying quiet that wasn't submission. It was observation. On the 4th day, everything changed. The lesson was interrupted by an announcement that made several alien students hiss with excitement. "Combat assessment will now commence. All species must demonstrate their natural capabilities." The classroom transformed. Walls retracted, revealing a larger arena. Weapons materialized from the floor. Energy blades, projectile launchers. Things Jack couldn't identify but recognized as deadly. "The humans will observe," Korth announced with what might have been amusement. "Perhaps they will learn something about true power." What followed was a display of casual brutality that made Jack's stomach turn. The scaled creatures, Thrikari, someone called them, moved like liquid death, their natural weapons tearing through holographic targets with surgical precision. The insectoids demonstrated coordinated tactics that would have impressed Earth's best military strategists. Even the plant creatures revealed hidden thorns that fired with sniper-like accuracy. "Impressive," Korth said as the demonstration concluded. "Now humans, show us what your species offers." "We don't have any weapons," Jack protested. "Exactly the point," one of the Thrikari students laughed, the sound like grinding metal. "Your species is defenseless, weak. Perhaps," suggested another student, something that looked like a cross between a spider and a tank. "We should provide them with a proper demonstration of their place." Korth's silence was permission enough. They came from all sides. "Not all of them. That would have been too easy to call murder. Just 3. The spider tank thing, one of the Thracari, and an insectoid whose mandibles clicked with anticipation. A reasonable number for what they probably saw as pest control. Jack stepped forward, fists raised in a boxer's stance, but Daisy was already moving. Her backpack hit the floor as she grabbed one of the classroom chairs. With a sharp twist and a crack that echoed through the arena, she broke off one of the metal legs. The spider tank charged first. In any reasonable universe, its armored hide and razor-sharp appendages should have made short work of a human girl with an improvised weapon. But Daisy had grown up in neighborhoods where walking alone meant staying alert, in schools where being different meant being a target. She'd learned to fight not with rage but with precision. The chair leg found the joint between the creature's head and thorax with surgical accuracy. The thing dropped, its nervous system disrupted by what should have been an impossible strike. The Thracari came next, its natural blades extended. Daisy ducked under its first swipe, pivoted, and drove the makeshift weapon up behind its scaled head. The creature collapsed. The insectoid tried to retreat, its compound eyes finally registering something it hadn't expected to see. A predator that looked like prey. Daisy let it get almost to the exit before her improvised spear took out its legs. It fell hard, chittering in what sounded like pain and confusion. The arena fell silent. 20-plus alien students stared at the small human female standing over 3 of their finest fighters, armed with nothing but a piece of furniture. "Impossible," Korth whispered. "No," Daisy said quietly, not even breathing hard. "Inevitable." She walked back to where Jack stood, his fists still raised though they'd proven unnecessary, and picked up her backpack. "Here's what you don't understand about humans," she continued, addressing the room. "We didn't become the dominant species on our planet because we're the strongest or the fastest. We became dominant because we're the most adaptable. Give us any situation, any tool, any challenge, and we'll find a way to survive it." She held up the chair leg, its tip now stained with alien fluids. "You wanted to see human capabilities? This is what we do. We take whatever's available and we make it work. A chair becomes a weapon. A problem becomes a solution. Weakness becomes strength." Jack stepped beside her, and something in their combined presence made several alien students back away. "Your mistake," Daisy concluded, "was thinking that peaceful meant defenseless. The transport back to Earth was much quieter than the one that had brought them to Kepler 442b. The Galactic Education Council's report would list the exchange program as requiring further evaluation. They would debate for cycles about whether humanity was ready for galactic civilization. But in the end, they would reach a conclusion that surprised no one who'd actually met a human. Earth's people weren't violent by choice. They were simply very, very good at survival. And sometimes survival looked exactly like a 21-year-old woman with a chair leg, and the absolute certainty that underestimating humans was the last mistake their enemies would ever make.